Welcome back to Planet Doug, the Penang edition. It's a little bit of a potentially rainy day, so I'm taking a risk bringing this Brompton out onto the streets. Probably going to get rained on. They're calling for thunderstorms, but we'll see how I get along. If I get rained on, I'll duck to the side, find some shelter somewhere. So yeah, I've got the Brompton all set up, unfolded it. I'm slowly figuring out a smooth and efficient way of collapsing it and then putting it back into shape that I can go riding. I'm not going anywhere special on this little ride. I just am going to start riding around the streets and basically see where I end up. I just want to familiarize myself with the streets of Georgetown. I'm kind of interested in the coastline, so I'll probably head a little bit in this direction and then over to the ocean and then follow the coast and circle around and then maybe go into the interior. But that's as far as I've gone in terms of my thinking and my plans. And we're off. Nice and slow, steady pace. It's a lot to get used to a new bike, especially one this advanced, you know, this designed and engineered, as well as riding in a new city and navigating your way and shooting video at the same time. It's a lot to keep track of. You got to go slow and make sure you've taken care of all the details. You can already feel some droplets in the air. Hopefully it doesn't get too bad. I think this is the sort of place that you could learn to enjoy more and more as time goes by. Because I think to have a smooth life here, you'd have to get used to how the streets are laid out. It's pretty complicated in the sense of all the streets seem to be one-way streets. A lot of directions you can and can't go. And for a place that you know, has the reputation of being very quiet and laid back. It's got a lot of traffic, a lot of cars here, and all these drivers seem to be in search of places to park. But yeah, I mean, this is the kind of place Penang is for me. Right here is a good example. I've never been down this street before. I had no intention of going down this street. I didn't know what was here. But look around. It looks like 5 or 6 or more, 7 or 8 interesting restaurants on my left. Got some restaurants on the other side, colonial buildings, vintage buildings, and some of the classic Penang street art. Oh, actually I have no idea where I am. This feels like it must be a well-known street for tourists to visit, and I just sort of stumbled across it. Nyonya House right up ahead. Special type of food in Malaysia. Yeah, all cafes and restaurants all along here. Steamboat. I wonder if that means it's like boat noodles. But another restaurant there. tea shops, more restaurants. But here's a good example of what I was saying about having to know the city, because I can't really turn left because that's all one-way traffic on that street, and obviously it's an extremely busy one, so I have no choice but to turn right. But yeah, look at the traffic. And such, ice cream parlor. If anyone was feeling like they were getting a bit too skinny and needed to put on weight, I guess Penang would be a good place to come with a fat wallet, and you could just go out all day every day and just try new restaurants. Your fat wallet would get thinner and you would get fatter. You would trade places with your wallet. Every street I've passed on my left has been a one-way in the wrong direction so far. Because the water, the coast is off to my left, I think. So that's the direction I want to go. Everything is either one way or a dead end so far. And this one is also one way in the wrong direction. Aha! I instinctively reached for a turn signal again because I could see that I can turn left here. Funny thing is that I've had to retrace the entire distance that I went south or went in that direction on the one-way street. I found a way to move over one, but I hit another one-way street and I've had to go back the entire distance all the way to where I started from, and there's been no way to go to the right down to the coast because this is another one-way. They've all been one-ways and the traffic here is so busy you just can't get across. I guess I'm not familiar with the city, so it's complicated. But first impressions on a bike is that it's not quite the cycling paradise I might have imagined. It feels like it could be if 80% of the people in these cars switched to a bicycle. You know, we might be in the Netherlands or something like that, right? Could easily be a cycling town because I don't think anything is very far away. But okay, here's another road heading off to my right. Again, one way, but at least it's heading in the right direction. It's reminding me a little bit, just a little bit of Kuala Lumpur, because that city was definitely not suitable for cycling or walking, really. It was very difficult to get from one part of the city to the other unless you were driving or taking the MRT. I felt like I was getting closer to the water, and I found a road heading in that direction. But I ran straight into a wall of apartment buildings. I can't get through these either. There's so many of them, and each one just has a dead end road leading to it, and you can't get through it. So I'm not sure how to. All right, maybe I can turn left here and try again. Yeah, as I said, you really have to know these streets. It's like threading the needle to figure out how to get to anywhere. And I'm not even trying to get anywhere. I'm just riding in a general random direction, and I still keep running into dead ends all the time. But as I said, I can see how if you lived here for a long time, you get to know these streets. It'd be a lot of fun riding around. Yeah, looks like apartment buildings are blocking that direction as well. Reminds me of the wall in Game of Thrones, looking over there at those towering buildings, and I got to get over them or through them to get to the other side. Oh, here's a road. Maybe we've come to the end of the wall. I can skirt around them, or maybe not. Let's see. Appears to be another barrier between me and the ocean. There's it's pretty common in most cities, I think, that are alongside the ocean, that they have quite a busy highway running right beside the water. And I think this is Penang's version of that. This little ride is making me think of Casey, who runs the Camera Conspiracies YouTube channel. He's a Canadian, and I first became aware of him when he was living in Chiang Mai. And he liked to get around on a bicycle, and at one point his Thailand visa ran out, and he came to Penang to go to the Thai consulate here to get a new visa to return to Thailand. And I remember he was talking a lot about how he really wanted to see the ocean, get that amazing Southeast Asian tropical ocean experience. And he ended up going to the ocean here in Penang. He even went into the water here and went for a swim, wrote a song about it. It was one of his classic videos. But I remember feeling so bad because he talks so much about seeing the beautiful ocean, and yet, you know, as nice as Penang is, no, I don't think anyone comes here. No one comes to this part of Georgetown for the beaches. I think they do have nice beaches on the other side, the open ocean side, I guess. But the beaches here, the water is not very nice. It's certainly nothing like the tropical beaches of the Philippines and Indonesia and other places that I've been. So I really wished Casey had continued traveling and gotten the true beach experience elsewhere, but his visit to the ocean here in Penang was the best he was able to come up with. And I'm still not able to get over there. Now I'm going all the way back again. I've gone this direction. No, I went that direction one way for long ways, but then I had to turn around and come back in this direction one way. And now I'm going exactly in the same direction, like parallel to all the other one-way streets. But I still can't penetrate any of this urban area to get to the water itself. It's got to be around here somewhere. It's all blocked off by these buildings. haven't found access to the water, but there was an open entrance to this hotel, and I could see the water from here. There we are, the coast. Yeah, but this is, as I said, this is the water between Penang Island and the mainland. It's on the other side that you get the beaches that are open to the ocean. It's nice to stand here though, just to breathe it in. So I guess I can understand the excitement of camera conspiracies, even when this is the kind of the sum total of his ocean experience. I don't know how he got down to the water though. I'm not sure what this, what hotel this is. Hello. What is the name of this hotel?
Eastern Oriental Hotel, sir.
Oh, the Eastern Oriental Hotel.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Looks like an older hotel. Has kind of a classic look to it. It's nice.
See the map?
Yeah, there it is. Okay. Eastern Oriental. Nice.
Got a two place, sir.
Got
a two place, sir. This one is Victoria Nest, and behind the other one, Ritesh Wing.
Okay. Okay. Good. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
And they have a little sidewalk here, a little walkway. And I was just speaking with the guard here, and he was pointing out the name of it. It's the Eastern and Oriental Hotel. It's very interesting. Kind of a classic hotel design. And if you stay here, yeah, I guess you have access to the water here. But I don't think you can continue this way. You have to go back out onto the street from the hotel. Yeah, all that area back to the left, that's what I was cycling along, all those tall buildings, and they basically dominate the shoreline. And but look at that, there is a beach there with a whole bunch of boats. I wonder how you get there. But I don't think I'm going to return to try and find out. The guard here didn't seem to like me being here on a bicycle. Because I was asking him about the hotel, he knew I wasn't a guest here, so he followed me everywhere I went with his walkie-talkie, just stayed a few feet away. And he was sort of blocking my way, heading along the water. So it was pretty clear if I tried to go in that direction, he was going to stop me and tell me to leave. Back onto the road I go. That's why they pay him, to keep the place safe. Found another little side street. Appears to go down to the water. We'll see if it is free of security guards. Oh, I was hoping for a walkway along the water, but it's blocked off. It's private property, belongs to these residences or hotels. So I can't follow the water from here either. And this is a parking area for these buildings. I mean, if you're on foot, I guess you could maybe walk along these rocks. There's a fisherman out there, standing there with his rod and reel. Huh, nice. Yeah, a lot of security in at these buildings. That is a feeling you do get in Malaysia in general, more so than in neighboring countries, I find. That there's a lot of secure access to buildings, to streets, to neighborhoods. And you have to be a little bit of a geographical Sherlock Holmes sometimes to navigate your way through without being turned away or turned back. You have to have a reason to be where you are and go where you want to go. It's interesting, I just noticed that on the sidewalk beside this road, I saw a symbol for both a pedestrian and a cyclist. So it seems like this sidewalk is also meant for cyclists. At least the part back there was. I don't know about this section. Not room for both though. You'd have to get off your bike if you ran into pedestrians. Found another little road. Just trying to stay as close to the water as I can until, I think, down around the historic district, the tourist area of Georgetown. I think the shoreline does open up there and becomes sort of a public area. I have a vague memory of that. And this section up ahead might be the beginning of that area. Starting to see some food and drink stalls and things like that. Or no, no, definitely not. It's just another dead end at this building. You can't continue in either direction. It's just a parking lot. Ooh. Back to the main road. I haven't given up, found another road, curls back towards the water. We're passing by the Balai San Lucas Negeri State Art Gallery. Ooh, things are looking good. Little bit of a park. Now we're talking. I often wonder, I think a lot about this, to be honest. Most cities, coastal cities that I visited, I end up thinking about the water and access to the water. And I often wonder if there's a point in history, like a key moment, when they can feel the city developing and they're reaching the point where, you know, they could make a decision to keep the shore open and public and scenic, you know, and open to everybody. and they can decide to go in one direction or the other, whether to just sell all that land to developers and you know, let people who, you know, live in those buildings have access to the shore and nobody else has access, or they could go in the other direction and make the shoreline, keep it open and public the whole way, and develop it as a sort of public space. Most cities that I visited, by natural development or by choice, have gone the route where the shore has ended up cut off from normal life, like it is up here. It's just what happens. Looks like a nice area down here, though. And there's a bunch of food places there. Sit by the water, have something to eat. But I don't know how far I can go along the shore. I don't imagine I can go very far. It's probably going to get quite complicated up ahead. My plan for today wasn't to visit any of the historic buildings or monuments and read all the placards. So you're not going to get any kind of a history lesson from me today. But I imagine there are quite a few monuments along here. If you're walking, you could stop and read some of the plaques and get some of the history of this area.
Kerajaan kata, sabi niya, tak mungkin kerajaan.
Oh, that's nice. They actually have a sign. I was wondering whether, you know, bicycles were allowed at all along here. And there's a sign that says pedestrians and cyclists both, but no motorcycles, which makes sense. And I said no history lesson, and I meant it, but I have to point out that off to my right there is Fort Cornwallis, an old English fort. The walls and the cannons, you can still see them. And there's something quite interesting here, the remains of some kind of a ship. Well, I can't resist. There are a couple of placards here. let's go find out what this place is all about. Ah, Lighthouse. The Fort Cornwallis Lighthouse was built in 1882. It was known as Fort Point Lighthouse during the British colonial days. It was renovated in 1914 and again in 1928. The construction cost was £10,224 in 1914. And I guess it is special because it has a 21-meter white steel framework tower. Visual distance is 16 nautical miles. Huh. Interesting, because from a distance, to be honest, I thought it was a reconstructed ship. It actually looked like the mast of a ship. But it is a lighthouse. And this is the entrance to Fort Cornwallis. Well, I'm here, I suppose, why not go in? If I can do that with my bicycle, or find a safe place to put it, all nicely folded up. What do you think the chances are that they'd let me just roll the bicycle through? Slim. Well, we'll find out. This is the valet parking.
Hi sir.
Hello?
Good morning.
To go in?
Yeah, it's 10 ringgit per person.
10 ringgit?
Yeah. So can you pay me by card? Can you pay me by card?
No, I just have cash. I'm sorry. Yeah, I have no card.
It's okay sir. Have a good day sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What is this actually by the way?
Camera, but that's a 360 camera.
Oh, I see.
So it has two lenses, one here and one here. And it's filming everything.
Oh.
So right now it's filming you and me and there and up and down. It's filming in all directions. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Okay sir.
Thank you.
Good day.
Wow, that was pleasant. The bicycle was not questioned in any way. I'm not used to that. In a lot of places I visited with a bike in my lifetime, they get treated with a lot of suspicion, oddly enough. So it was 10 ringgit to come in, and he just let me roll the bike right through. I guess because it's such a small folding bike, I guess that helps. And I got some kind of a wristband, I think. And yeah, I'll put it on if I can figure out what I'm supposed to do with it. You can open it at one end. Oh, like that, okay. I need instructions for everything. So I guess that peels off. And then you can put it around your wrist. But doing it on your own. There you go. I'm official. And they have a breakfast in the fort cart here. And I'll definitely be having a drink or something to eat there. Now that I'm in here, I'm not quite sure what the Cornwallis Fort experience is supposed to consist of. I have a statue here, which is probably a fellow who goes by the name of Cornwallis. I mean, I'm sure this fort was named after some British fellow. Oh, no, this is Sir Francis Light, the founder of the British Empire, the British colony of Penang, and its capital, Georgetown. So this is the founder of the colony of Penang. Strategically located in the northern part of the Straits of Malacca in the year 1786. It's always interesting to read these biographical summaries because you sort of skim through it at first, but then if you stop and take a closer look at some of the information, you find out some interesting things. For example, he was born in 1740, died in 1794. So he died when he was 54 years old, which of course by modern times is very young. And he died of malaria. I wonder if he was here in Penang when he contracted malaria. It doesn't say where he contracted malaria, but it does say that he died from a malaria attack on October 21st, 1794, and was cremated at Penang's Protestant cemetery. Malaria is an interesting thing. We don't talk about it very much unless you go to Africa, of course, because Africa still has a very big problem with malaria. But you see a lot of news these days about a new malaria vaccine, which is very promising. And I did a little bit of reading about this a few weeks ago, and I don't remember all the details, but apparently malaria is particularly difficult to fight with a vaccine because it mutates very, very rapidly, and there are so many different strains and it changes so much. But apparently they had some very promising success with a series of new vaccines, and they're talking about wiping out malaria in the next decade or something like that. And that's amazing news. There are some interesting details about this statue of Francis Light. It's made of bronze, and it was placed here in 1938, and that was 150 years after his arrival in Penang. So the statue was made and placed near the fort on the 150th anniversary of his arrival in Penang. And interestingly enough, the artist used the features of his son to make the statue, because there was no photographs, obviously no photographs, but no drawings, no record of what Francis Light looked like himself. So this is actually his eldest son, Colonel William Light. And apparently there used to be a sword, but the sword was melted down to produce weapons for the Japanese army during the Japanese occupation in Penang. But that kind of begs the question of what the sword was made out of. I mean, was the sword also bronze? If so, why didn't they melt down the whole statue? So I assume that the sword was made out of a more useful metal than bronze for making weapons. And finally, the star-shaped Fort Cornwallis stands at the place where Francis Light and his crew landed in 1786 to take possession of Penang Island. They first made a stockade of palm trunks, but this was quickly replaced by a brick fort. In old paintings, it says, you can see that the fort was surrounded by a moat and contained a number of buildings. Of these, the Christian chapel and a gunpowder magazine still stand. Fort Cornwallis is the best preserved fort in peninsular Malaysia. Interesting. I was just going over a map of the fort, and it appears that over here in the corner, that's the chapel. So that's one of the two remaining structures from the original fort's construction. And the wall that I'm facing, part of it is a prison. Part of it in the corner is a prison, and then a bunker. So I guess the soldiers had their quarters down in there. But that whole area is blocked off. You're not allowed to go down there for some reason. And going back in this direction, it looks like I can roll my Brompton up onto this walkway that goes along the wall, and you can see over the water and look at the cannons, things like that. And over here in the left-hand corner, according to the map, this is the map that I was looking at, in the corner is the gunpowder magazine room. So if this were a movie and we were part of some elite squad commandos coming in to take over the fort, that's definitely where we would go. You set your charges there. Because in movies, aren't they always blowing up the gunpowder room? And it's the first thing you do when you're invading. Blow up your enemy's ammunition. Interesting. I didn't realize it was like this. It's all grassy up here. And this is the gunpowder magazine. Constructed in 1814. And its thick wall and pillbox shaped design was meant to minimize damage in the event of an explosion. Because, yeah, I think a big risk with weaponry in general is you don't want your own weapons to blow up in your face. So it's a good thing if you're an armed force to stockpile a lot of ammunition and gunpowder. But you also don't want your own gunpowder to blow up on you. I'm assuming these are all original cannon that have been here right from the beginning. I imagine the weight of them would go up into the tons. I see a sign up there next to that cannon, so I'm going to go up there and take a look at it. This sign doesn't tell me how much this cannon weighs exactly, but it gives a lot of history of it. Apparently it's dated from 1613, so that's when it was built. It's called the Sri Rambai cannon. So built in 1613, and then has had a long, colorful history since then. Apparently it was even sunk to the bottom of the ocean, and it came to the surface all by itself. That was in 1880. It says it was cursed by one prince who tied a thread on his finger and ordered the cannon to come afloat at the sea. That's quite a story. And local folklore even believe that women who are infertile would be able to conceive by placing flowers in the cannon barrel as a form of special prayers. So yeah, that is quite the story to go along with the cannon. You're not going to get a better pedigree than that for a cannon. And you can stare down the mouth of this famous cannon. The signs here must be frustrating for the local women, because it says if you put flowers in the mouth of it, you can combat infertility. But then they have a very large sign down here on the stairs that says, strictly do not step, sit, or stand on this historic cannon. So they make it difficult to get to the end of the cannon to put your flowers in there. You'd have to have someone tall like myself to be able to reach up there and do it for you. It's hard to say what was the most defensive, most strategic part of this fort, but chances are it would be this wall, right? There's a lot of cannon here, and these cannon could be used to fire on any ships approaching the fort from the sea. It says that the wall here is on average 19 feet thick. So, pretty thick. Yeah, I don't know if we're walking on top of rooms or if it's solid ground or rock underneath us. I'm not sure. Well, breakfast in the fort. Let's see what we can get here. I'll probably just get a cup of coffee. Hello. Hello. Thank you. So I have my number for my table. Just go take a seat and they'll bring it to me. I assumed I was just going to get a drink and that's all. But it's kind of interesting that the pricing on drinks sometimes pushes you towards getting food, because like a cold coffee, iced coffee, was about 15 ringgit, and a full big breakfast, or like a fried chicken or like baked chicken with shiitake mushrooms, scrambled eggs, that's 20 ringgit. So I figure I might, instead of spending 15 ringgit on just a drink, add another 5, spend 20 and get a full breakfast. And that's what I did. My grilled chicken with shiitake mushrooms has arrived. Should be nice. I'm actually pretty hungry. Been kind of busy ever since I arrived in Penang, and I haven't really taken a whole lot of time in my days to eat a lot. But again, I'm not a big eater. So, let's try some of this grilled chicken. It's nice. And mushrooms. To be honest, I don't really know what shiitake mushrooms are. Whenever I see them on a menu, it makes me think I'm ordering something very special. For all I know, it just means it's the same thing as mushrooms. Why a shiitake mushroom is better than if it just said mushrooms, I don't know. But I always feel like I'm getting gourmet mushrooms whenever it says shiitake. Well, that is done. I powered through that breakfast like crazy. Yeah, from the first bite, I suddenly realized how hungry I was. And it was good. Yeah, it was a nice little breakfast. The grilled chicken was really moist and tasty. And then the shiitake mushrooms, very good. Bit of salad, some bread with, it's like basil sort of pesto sauce on top. That was really good. Yeah, scrambled eggs. You could do worse than that for your breakfast in the fort. I like that a lot. So I think from here, I'm just going to get back on the bike and ride as close as I can get to the water again, but continuing around the coast. Just like along the harbors, you know, where all the big boats dock and the ferries dock. And there are some jetties there that are quite well known here in Penang, kind of a tourist attraction, quite historic. The Yeoh Jetty, it's almost like a contained village of one family group that built up onto a pier almost. And they call these jetties. And I guess historically, each jetty was like a separate village or belonged to one family clan, like the clan jetties, something like that. Anyway, so yeah, it's a big tourist attraction now. So I'm just going to ride my bike along that direction and see what I come across. We've already come full circle. That's Fort Cornwallis to my right. And this is the Queen Victoria Memorial Clock Tower. And I walked right by this tower when I landed just yesterday, I guess, whenever it was I got here. The ferry terminal is over here, and I walked right by here on my way to my Airbnb. Yeah, this is where I landed, the Swettingham Pier. So I guess if you're taking the ferry off the island, this is where you come to catch the boat. Yeah, I read a message, a comment on YouTube that I got saying that the vehicle ferry that I keep talking about just doesn't run anymore. It's out of service, which is really sad. I really like that vehicle ferry. And it left from a different pier further along the coast. But I guess this is where you come now. This is perhaps the only option. So I guess now all vehicles have to take the bridge to get across to Penang. Seems odd. It feels like there should still be a vehicle ferry running, but maybe it's only open to vehicles and they don't allow past pedestrians anymore. So this is the place I'm used to going. The Hanya Motisiko Beka Dan Basiko Sahaja, which roughly translated means some kind of vehicle ferry. And the bus station is also here. The bus, not really bus station, but the terminal for the city buses. They start and begin here. But I can't tell from out here whether the ferry is still operational or not. I mean, it doesn't look open, does it? There's no real activity going on. And when I stopped my bike there at the end of the driveway, some men down at the end were like waving at me and waving me off, saying, you know, you can't come down here, you can't come down here. But yeah, this is where I was expecting to get off the ferry the other day. An end of an era, the end of the vehicle ferry era. I'm just past the bus terminal there, and I was looking at Google Maps, and right off the top I can see 3 different jetties, and I think they're all based on family names, as I said, different clans. So I'm standing right out in front of the Lim Jetty, and next to it I can see the Chu Jetty or Chow Jetty, and then there's the Thean Jetty. And those are the 3 that I can see right now. And there might be, there's another one, the Yeoh Jetty. So there's a whole series of them along here. And I remember visiting one before. And again, like I said, it's sort of developed now as a place for people like me, for visitors to walk up and down, and they have a bunch of shops. And I think a lot of people live out in that area too. But I'm not really sure how much of it is open to visitors. So I'm rolling my bike along here, but I have no idea where I'm going. Am I going into a jetty that is a tourist attraction, or I have no idea. So just roll my bike along and see where I end up. Looks like I might have missed the jetty by one road. Because I think this might be the jetty over here on the other side of this bit of water. So you can see the whole community. All these little houses are built up on top of a pier. All those posts holding it up. The water flowing underneath. Yeah, there's a little bridge right there, but I don't know if it's accessible from here. Oh, look at that, it is. There is an orange pylon here, so it looks like they could block it at some point, but it appears to be open. So apparently this is one of the jetties. Oh, this is the Lim Jetty. Look at that. Just when I was hoping for some information, I get it. Lim Jetty. And this appears to be the back side of the jetty. These are all the kind of the backyards of the houses. Interesting. Wheel of my bike just went straight through a gap between the boards. So yeah, you got to watch where you're walking. Don't want to get too distracted. I'm going to walk right off the end of the pier, or the jetty. Now this is a nice view. Get a nice view of all the family, the clan jetties, and then the hills in the background and some of the apartment buildings. And on the other side, though, the docks for the vehicle ferries, whether they're running or not. It's kind of an odd thing when you think about it, that your home, like this is basically where people live. These are their houses, this is their street, and it has become a tourist attraction. And on busy days, there could be hundreds of people coming off the cruise ships, for example, and walking up and down these alleyways around their homes. And they've developed it to be like this, so I don't think anybody minds, but at the same time, it is where they live. And you think they should benefit financially in some way from all the people coming through.
XO mungkin bisa bawa aku itu.
And off to the sides, there are all these smaller alleyways. I'm not sure if they lead to a larger section of the pier, but let's see where it goes. Oh, just sort of dead ends at a bunch of homes. Leads to their front doors. Let's go down one more of these side alleys, these side docks. Curious if it just leads to more homes or if it leads to another section of pier. Oh, interesting. Kind of a maze of alleyways built up over the water. And there's a dead end with some homes here. Oh, so interesting. It's exactly the kind of place I could see myself living, ending up in a place like this. It's a stark contrast with the other side as I was riding my bike along the ocean on the other side, and all the waterfront property there was developed for the luxury hotels and what I assume are relatively upscale apartment buildings. And then over here, all of this has been kept very traditional. But it makes me wonder about the property prices, because technically they don't have any property. They're actually built out on top of the water, and yet it's probably very desirable, a very desirable location. Could they sell one of those houses and make a lot of money from the sale? No idea. I don't know what the ownership situation is either for all those the houses on the jetties. I've reached the entrance to another jetty. I don't know how to pronounce this one. It's spelled in English C-H-E-W, Chew Jetty. But that sounds kind of odd to my ears, so maybe it's Cho Jetty, something like that. The main area might be one line off to my right, but this area seems to head out into over the water too. Just walking through a car service center. Then there appears to be a dock out here. Thought I saw some people who look like tourists heading in this direction, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I think the interesting part of the jetty is on my right over there, but we might be able to see it from here once I get to the water's edge. Okay, yeah, this isn't the jetty yet. That's it off to my right. Of course, you can see all the tourists there walking around with their cameras. I'm soon to join them. Whew. Tell you, with every stage of this journey south from Mesot, and I assume going down in altitude a little bit, it's getting hotter and hotter. It was a lot hotter in Bangkok than it was in Mesot. And now here in Penang, it's a lot hotter than it was in Bangkok. I'm just walking around, barely doing anything, and I'm just sweating to death. Humid. It's not the heat, they say, it's the humidity, and that's very true right now. But the air also feels very still, like we're waiting for a storm to hit. This is the official entrance to the jetty. This one's much more developed than the first one that I went down. Various cafes and restaurants here at the entrance. This might be the place to stop for a cold drink on the way out. The last jetty, the Lim Jetty, really felt like people were living there. There's definitely people's homes. And but this one I'm not so sure about. Be interesting to know if people still live here full time. This appears to be one of the larger ones. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, established in the mid-19th century. Part 1, 182 meters long. Part 2, 122 meters long. Part 1, part 2, part 3. Huh. Interesting. Hello.
Cannot inside.
No? Well, I couldn't go very far into that jetty. They don't allow bicycles in there. I'd have to park it out here, but I don't have a lock for the bike. I don't know if I'd even trust it with a lock anyway. A bike like this would be quite a target for thieves, so I don't really want to leave it anywhere. But I was pretty happy with my experience of the Lim Jetty anyway. That one felt very, very local, you know, very traditional with people living there. This one looks like it's much more of a developed for tourists to walk through. So probably might not be as interesting. So, no bicycle, no Chu Jetty today. As you ride along the shore, you come across all kinds of small roads like this one that just seem to go somewhere. So I rode down this one to see where it ended up. And down here we have a futsal court. And from here you can look up the coast a little bit. There's another jetty with a large temple at the end of it. Oh man, the heat has gotten me a little bit lightheaded. Wow. Oh, yeah, I felt a bit dizzy right then. Oh, restaurants down here. Yeah, I visited all these jetties on previous visits to Penang. I'm not on a bicycle ever, but I was down here on foot. And I explored them all pretty thoroughly on foot long ago. Though I don't have a whole lot of memory of it, except for if I look at the pictures that I took, then I kind of remember it. Whew, yeah, I'm not dealing with this heat all that well. I feel kind of lightheaded. I just came across another quite developed jetty, and let's see how they feel about someone walking a bicycle. The entrance isn't as crowded, so I might be able to sneak through here. Yeah, these are definitely private homes, and they're clearly still all, or not all, but some of them are still in use. People are living here, and they've come to terms with at least the outsides of their homes being a tourist attraction. Each one has the same sign hanging from the outside. I assume with the family crest, you know, like the name of the clan for this jetty. Yeah, this is really nice. Get to walk all the way out to the end of the pier and get a nice view of the shore. I don't know which jetty this is. I'm not sure what the name of the family is. Ah, that's really nice. That is a large number of pylons holding up all these houses. So I guess they feel relatively secure. I wonder how they're wired and how they're plumbed. Like, do they have a plumbing system leading out from these through pipes into the city sewage system? And are they well serviced with water lines and things like that? Yeah. See if I can get the name of this one. Yeah, I think I saw it up there on the digital sign when I went in. Welcome to Lee. This is the Lee Jetty. And I think I have one more jetty on my agenda for today. I'll go to this large one coming up. Check this place out. It's a real repair shop here. I lied. I kind of came across another small jetty before the big one. This one is called the New Jetty, mixed 1960. So by the word mixed, I assume there's a variety of different families here, different family names, not just one clan. Ah, very nice. At least you know that these docks can support a bicycle, because some of these homes have up to 3 scooters parked in front of them. So people ride their scooters up and down this jetty all the time. Yeah, that's not the most attractive part of the jetty life, I guess, if you're on top of a mud flat as opposed to with the water and all the garbage starts to pile up down there. It makes you wonder what the mosquito situation is out here too. You'd think there would be a lot of them, so that could be one of the many downsides of living on a jetty. Yeah, look at that. There's a lot of garbage down there. Wow. Yeah, probably changes throughout the day, right? This might be low tide. Maybe at high tide, the water comes in, covers all that up, and it doesn't look quite so bad. Yeah, way down here at the end, it's like a parking lot. Motorcycles and scooters. 5 of them right now. Oh, and here we are at the very end. Yeah, beautiful. These smaller jetties definitely feel lived in. If they're not homes, they're kind of businesses, like this place. It's clearly some kind of air conditioning repair operation. They've got a bunch of them in storage. sight, a set of 4 Volkswagen Beetles. A gold one, a purple one, a white one, and a red one. Oh, and there's a whole bunch more on the interior, on the inside. So it looks like this place specializes in restoring, repairing, and rebuilding Volkswagen Beetles. It's quite cool. And here's another kind of mystery lane. I'm not sure if it goes anywhere. That's open to the public. But the worst that can happen is I can be told that it's not open to the public and I have to turn around. But it looks like there's a kind of jetty down here. Bit of a hidden jetty tucked away behind this parking lot. And this is the Yeoh Jetty. Car park for the residents of Yeoh Jetty, which would be this one here. And since we're here, you might as well go for a walk. This one looks far less developed than the other ones. Just tucked away back here. And there's the sign for the family name, Yeoh Jetty. And they still have a sign here for wearing a mask, so I will do that. It still feels odd for me personally to be living in this time because I'm such an avid consumer of post-apocalyptic entertainment, whether, movies or TV shows. I can't help but watch every movie or TV show that features the world after, a rampaging epidemic of some kind, or some kind of holocaust, some nuclear disaster or meteor strike. And feels a little bit like that, to still be walking around and coming into a zone where you have to worry about bringing in a contamination of the pandemic. Oh, this is great. Glad I came down here. The quay goes far out into the water behind that large temple. I remember visiting that temple in particular, again, because I remember taking pictures there. It's odd that I don't really remember anything unless I've actually taken pictures while I was there. And I remember walking around with my camera on that temple. Looks like they had some flags out here for a celebration of some kind. And he's busy taking them down. Or putting them back up, one or the other. Oh, I guess he's putting them up. Yeah, a friend of mine, Daryl, who runs the Wander Eats YouTube channel, he was here not long ago on one of those big cruise boats. He actually lives in Kuala Lumpur, but he took a cruise boat that took him from KL to Penang and Singapore. And his cruise boat docked here in Penang, and then he got off and had a meal somewhere in here. I'm not sure if he visited the jetties or not, but when I arrived here, there was a massive cruise ship docked, so big I thought it was a building, and he was on a boat like that. Whew. I don't know what's up with me today. I'm having a hard time walking around and talking in this heat. I'm getting dizzy again, lightheaded. Yeah, I think it's a combination of the heat, walking, talking, and the mask. I'm not getting enough oxygen to my brain all of a sudden. I don't want to pass out and fall in the water. So I have to slow down a little bit. Such an interesting part of the Penang, these jetties. I'm walking down the laneway that I think leads to the temple, and some local people have been pointing the way for me, telling me that this is the way I need to go. Oh yeah, here's some signs. Jalan Merdeka. Thean Temple. It's down here, I guess. Oh, I think I remember this, like I said, from when I came here before and took some pictures. And all these are clearly homes where people live. Yeah, it's a little bit of a maze to get to this temple too. But they've put up a lot of helpful signs. It's probably why people were pointing the way. They're probably used to foreigners seeing that temple from the other jetties, wanting to go visit it, and then coming across some difficulty tracking it down. Yeah, you gotta make your way through all these tiny laneways to get there. I'm at the main gates to the temple, and there's a sign here saying no bicycles and no scooters allowed inside, so I'm going to leave the bike here, but I'm going to just go into the temple, just the first part here where I can still see the bike from where I am. I'm not going to go all the way into the temple. I'll just walk here through the entrance, and I can still see the bike behind me. I can still see the bike. I'm just going to walk out here to the end just for a minute to get a look at the temple and then head back out. Nice here, nice view. From here I can see pretty much all of the jetties that I walked on. Good, beautiful lily pads. And then the temple itself. It looks like I can climb these steps and I can still see my bike from up here, so I'll take a quick look up here. Beautiful display of statuary. I'm glad I came up here. It's a beautiful spot up on this second floor. A really nice view of the coastline and the jetties and the ships and the mainland. I'm just leaving the jetty with the temple, and I think at this point I'm going to be heading back towards the historic district where all the hotels and guest houses are located. I think I'm going to look for a cold drink there, someplace interesting where I can stop and have a drink, and that will be the end of my tour for this morning. That is slowly turning into the afternoon. First I have to get across this busy road. I probably have to move down to a traffic light. I don't think I can do it here. Oh, I got stuck on the wrong side of a fence now. I can't get across. Whew. Gotta take the mask off. I can't breathe. Just not getting enough oxygen or something. Oh, it feels better. Wow. Check out that set of apartment buildings. Monolithic. Looks like if I join the traffic over there, I might be able to get across on this traffic light. I don't think that was exactly how I was supposed to do it, but it worked. Now I'm over here, at least, on the other side of the fence. Something else I've realized that's different about being on a bicycle as opposed to being on a scooter is that I can see behind me quite a bit better. Because on the scooter, when you turn your head to do a shoulder check, it's hard to see past your helmet, and you have to turn far around. But when I don't have a helmet on like that, I just turn my head a little bit, and I get a much better view of what's coming up behind me. Of course, you also have to watch out for what's ahead of you. That bus just turned right in front of me. I would have run right into it if I hadn't seen it and hit the brakes. Stop here and get my bearings. I'm deep in that district now, slowed down to a walk, just so I can take in more of my surroundings and not have to worry about where I'm aiming the bike. There's an interesting little alleyway. Noisy and dusty one right now. A lot of construction going on here on the corner. Half the road is blocked off, but it's like a lot of interesting shops down here. Get yourself a henna tattoo. A lot of silk, sari, and clothing. Got a truck trying to get out. And I'll just yeah, this would be part of Little India, I'm pretty sure. I've taken a turn into India. I've got that truck coming up behind me. Gotta get out of his way. Yeah, I don't envy delivery truck drivers in all these parts of the world. Take a lot of patience on their part to navigate these narrow streets. Gold is very popular here. I see a lot of jewelry places buying and selling gold. Pretty common in little Indias around the world, I think. Huh. Every time I pass an intersection, I see new streets I want to go down. Why don't we head in this direction just for a second? The reason I came down this way is I saw a sign for masala tea, but I don't see the tea shop to go along with the sign, at least not yet. This is almost all gold and jewelry shops. Whew. Not much room for traffic. So this is Le King. I'm back on the bike now, riding along. It's actually easier to ride than walk because the area is so narrow here. Pretty bumpy cobblestone surface though. And I need to sit down. Yeah. Ninyong Temple. Running out of steam right now. Time to find my cold drink and call it quits for this morning. That was a very interesting street. I like that one a lot. Very cool ride from one end to the other. I'm all the way down at the water again. The edges of Little India. I've just exited out of Little India and heading into the area. I walked through here on my way in when I arrived. Because my old guest house, 75 Travelers Lodge, is down here. Forget the name of this street, Muntri, I think. I think it's called Muntri Street. And also, I think it is one way against me, but the street is largely empty. I think they'll allow a lone cyclist to make his way along. And as I noted when I came along here last time, this is a well-known lane. I think it's called Love Lane. And it used to be quite bustling. Love Lane Inn on the right there, but it looks to be out of business. I think there's quite a few. But there used to be a lot of bars, cafes, backpacker lodging along here. Looks like a lot of it is shut down now, though. Man, it's amazing how much harm this COVID shutdown has done around the world. You really see it in places like this. So many businesses gone. Yeah, and Love Lane ends here at another quite interesting and busy street. I remember this one, Chulia. I remember coming here all the time to catch my bus to go up to the Indonesian consulate, I think. There are bus stops along here. Well, since I'm here, and I'm doing a bit of a cycling tour of Penang, let's ride down here, get a little bit of this street on video.
We know us from the train.
Hey, yeah, how are you? That's a good chunk of Chulia. I think I'm going to do a U-turn here, head back up. I passed by someone there that I knew from the train. I think I'll see if I can catch up with him and say hello. Yeah, really interesting street. A lot of noodle shops, restaurants, small businesses. So different from the world of giant shopping malls, you know, that we're quite used to these days. I don't know where my train acquaintance disappeared to. Oh, sorry. And I decided to end my morning tour, or now my afternoon tour, morning and afternoon tour, with a stop here. I'm on Muntri Street. And what is the name of this place again? Okay, there it is there. It's called the Gala House Coffee, Chills, and Wheels. So it's a coffee shop, and it's also a bike shop. I noticed there's quite a few fancy bikes mounted on a rack out there, as you can see. And then they have the inside of the coffee shop here, which is quite nice. Some seating inside. Oh, I might move inside here. It's a little bit cooler. And then turns out they even have a bike shop in the back, which is nice to know if you ever need some repairs done. Look at that. Compact little place, but sure they can get the work done. Okay. What is up there? Oh, there's some seating up there. Can I have my bicycle, but I don't have a lock. Can I bring it in here?
Yeah.
Okay. So I folded my bike up as best I could. Didn't do a very good job again. I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't figure out how to do it. But there it is. I have my iced latte. And they have another section upstairs, they said. So let's take a look and see what's up here. Oh, wow. Oh, look how cool this is. Music playing up here though, so I can't record for very long. But yeah, they have all this seating up here. And nice windows looking out over the street. So yeah, this is a really nice place to end my morning afternoon tour. Oh. I think I might actually take a seat downstairs actually, just there's more people down there. I can watch people here in this place. But it's nice to know this place is up here. They have a lot of electrical outlets. You can come here with your laptop and work up here. Yeah, really nice. Look at that. Yeah, let's see. Make it down this spiral staircase. Overlooking the bike shop. Oh, here I am. Oh, it's very good. It's nice. And with that, that's the end of my first, kind of second full day in Penang. And I hope you enjoyed that little bicycle tour. I'm so tired. I am absolutely wiped from the heat. I can't even think anymore. I can't talk. So I'm going to close things down now and see you in the next video.